welcome Peter Crone.
I'm going to try it without the microphone because I'm not such a big fan of the whole Anthony Robbins kind of feel. Is this enough right now? Can you all hear me? Okay. Well, the first thing I realized, I'm going to take my bio off my website because I didn't expect anyone to actually cite all the stuff that's on there. But thank you, Ingrid, for having me along. I appreciate you all attending because I know it's a Sunday evening and many of you, I think, have just come from the service and you may well be hungry. So I appreciate taking some time to just come and listen to what I have to say. And whenever I've done a speech, some of you who come to my different events, I really like to set the tone that this is about you guys and not so much what I have to say. So I really encourage people to immediately come out of the box with any kind of questions. I encourage heckling. Anything that you feel, if you think I'm talking out of my backside, please speak up. If you know I am, then please keep quiet. I'll give you a little bit of background, apart from like what I've done and who apparently I am. What I consider myself to be is more a view of life. And what that means is, like, I'll never profess to have the answers to life. Right? I'm sure a lot of people here are going to have questions. I'm happy to do what I can to give you my suggestion, but there's no right answer in my world. It's more, how do you perceive life? It's kind of like the lens through which you look at the circumstances of your life, as opposed to how can you fix the circumstances of your life. Does that make sense? Yeah. No, this is not TV. This is going to work. It happens every time. I am talking to you. So all I'm going to be sharing is kind of the way that you might consider your life as opposed to trying to give you the answers to your life. Okay? So the basic context that I kind of live within for myself is that there's absolutely nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong with any situation. There's just the situation itself. So then what happens is, where our suffering comes in, like Ingrid said, it may sound pretty lofty, but I really feel confident that what I do is I help remove people's suffering. And what that is I'm really just changing the way that they look at things. Because underneath it, again, part of my philosophy, it's just my philosophy, how I look at life, how I've studied things for many, many years, is that underlying every human mind is this essence of what we might call complete freedom, or unconditional love, or just, bliss is thrown around a lot. It's kind of a tough one, because who wouldn't want that, right? So, but that's what I'm appealing to within you, is to understand that the very thing you're looking for really isn't that far. In fact, it's the very nature of who you are. We just get a little blindsided by the fact that we've been conditioned to think in certain ways. Like, that'll never happen to me, I'll never find someone, I'm never going to get married, I'm never going to be in good shape, I'm never going to have enough money, blah, 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 right? It gets pretty boring. So I don't entertain those kind of conversations very long, so feel free to bring them up, because I'll be happy to bat them away for you. But when you can really get that, there's literally nothing wrong, there's just a massive amount of relief. Because I know each one of you walked in here with certain circumstances in your life. And it could be to do with your bank account. The lack of money in there, or maybe you got too much money. I've yet to come across that one. But believe me, you'd be surprised. Nearly all my clients have got more money than time and they're still miserable. So, relationships, that's always number one, right? I mean, who hasn't had some kind of relationship problem? So it's either the one you're in or the one that you don't have. Either way, you're screwed, right? Or not, as the case may be. Then careers, jobs. Like, you haven't found your purpose in life, you're not fulfilled. You walk into that virtual office or whatever it might be, and it's kind of your boss is this and your co-workers are that, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a slew of different quote-unquote problems that people have. But what I really hope that you get from this evening, if there's the one thing that you take out of this room with you, is that the problem's not out there. Right? It's got nothing to do with the circumstances of your life. And when this hit me about 8-9 years ago, it was like I almost fell out of my chair because I realized I'd spent my entire life trying to fix all of my problems. And it was exhausting. It's no wonder people need a drink at the end of the day. It's like, good luck with all of that. So it's really it's the way that you look at your circumstances. It's how you react to circumstances that creates your problems. Right? It's not the situation itself. It's not your boss. It's not your in-laws. It's not your wife. It's not your husband. Occasionally. It's not your kids. It's not your bank account. It's how you perceive that and what you think that means about you, or where you think that's taking you. And this group, I'm going to let you dictate where we go, because we could get very into the esoterics, which is more a spiritual conversation, or we could get into the quantum physics about the illusion of time and past and future and all of that. We'll let the questions dictate that. But really, as I said, if there's one thing you can take out of here, it's that you have a different view of your circumstance. Like, yeah, I've got some pretty good suggestions on health and wellness. I'm an Ayurvedic doctor, so if you've got, a little tickly throat, I can suggest some stuff for you, but I'm not going to solve all your problems. But I can hopefully shift the way that you look at them. Does that make sense? Oh, we almost got a response. Long day, I know. So that's kind of where I look at things from, and it applies in many arenas of life. So, for example, one of my clients is a professional golfer, so I work with athletes. And his problem, he thought, when he was coming to see me, was that he was scared of making a mistake. So he thinks it's about golf. So it's in whatever part of the game. It could be putting or chipping. But that's really a reflection of something deeper that's going on about himself and what his fears are about who he thinks he is. Otherwise, we could spend hours and hours looking at his quote-unquote problem of putting, but nothing's actually being resolved underneath. So similarly, you go and see a doctor because you've got acid reflux. And he will happily, no offense to any doctors in here, but happily prescribe, Prilosec, Nexium, or whatever antacid to help you get rid of your acid reflux, right? Mm-hmm. Hello? Yes. Yeah. Get the idea. But the problem is, so that person walks out with a prescription, none the wiser as to why they have the acid reflux in the first place. And what I want you to consider, that is exactly the same process or phenomenon that happens in terms of cause and symptom that is going on up here. So you may think that your problem is something to do with whoever it may be, a relationship situation, your bank account, as I said, the list is endless. But really, that is a byproduct of something deeper. Bless you. That's a byproduct of something deeper that you say about yourself. So I'll give you the answer. You want the answer to life? This is basically what happens. At least in my years of study. At a very young age, we create the idea of ourselves. Right? In Hindu scriptures, which is much of my background, in something called Vedanta, which is similar to Eckhart Tolle. I'm sure a lot of you have read his material. It's a principle of non-dualism. So at a very young age, when we're all babies, and I'm assuming most of you were, we create the idea of who we are. Like, there's an I. Like, as I said, it's called the Ahamkara. Traditional psychology may call it the ego. And what you say about yourself is never good. You don't one day decide, hey, I'm extraordinary. As a 3-year-old, you're just suddenly walking around the house with this tube, I'm pretty fantastic. It's never good. So then you spend the rest of your life trying to overcome the thing that you made up about yourself. And that could look, however it looks, nips and tucks, trying to get more money, you think you need lean thighs or six packs, or you need to know someone famous, or you know someone who knows someone famous. That's usually enough. Just to try and bring some value to yourself, because deep down you feel you don't have value because of what you made up about yourself. But can you see the futility of it? Because you make something up about yourself that isn't good, and then you spend the majority of the rest of your life trying to overcome something that you made up. I'm getting tired thinking about it. So that's kind of that's the bubble of what I would consider the basic human psyche and how the mind is designed. And that's the very idea of ourselves. And then on top of that, we have all the BS and all the problems of, wars and religions and all of the things that people choose, none of which are bad, none are wrong, but none are equally true. That's the one distinction I would make. There's nothing wrong with what you believe. The trouble is that you believe it's true. That's the difference. If everyone just could understand, oh, that's fascinating, you believe in Shiva, and someone else believes in Krishna, and someone else believes in Muhammad, and someone else believes in Buddha. Fantastic. It's kind of like walking into a shop and I got this sweater, someone else got a blue one. It's wow, now I'm going to hate them because they got blue and they didn't get cream. Right? Make sense?
Yes.